Reawaken to your immortal identity and discover life between life's wisdom. Presented by the Michael Newton Institute.
Trisha Caetano, founder and director of the International Institute for Integration Therapy and Training, is internationally renowned as a pioneer in regression therapy and inner child integration. Over the past 40 plus years, she has trained licensed psychologists, medical doctors, monks, and other healing professionals in more than 13 countries worldwide in her methodology. Founded in 1994, her popular Inner Child Integration Therapy certification program is endorsed by the acclaimed Earth Association for Regression Therapy. Trisha is a highly sought-after expert and masterful facilitator who is known for helping students achieve powerful breakthroughs and accelerate their skills through her groundbreaking model of therapy. Her innovative methods are designed to achieve fast, effective results by helping people release patterns that unconsciously impact their physical, mental, and emotional behavior in negative ways. Trisha brings a great deal of depth, humor, warmth, and compassion to her work.
Trisha, you're bringing to mind a very interesting case. She's still working with me. So I won't take names of either the place or whatever she's come with, but it's a very interesting. She's a girl who's seen a lot of trauma. She's grown up seeing and experiencing war trauma. Her country is. So she's literally, and as in Dubai, you have people from everywhere. And I always say I'm so fortunate to be working here and living my life here because I am able to experience different aspects of humanity and different parts of what's happening in our planet because of whoever's coming into the chair in front of me. So this girl has issues with intimacy, with trust. Obviously, she was bringing up in the session all about social awkwardness. She's very uncomfortable to connect with people, so on and so forth. And thanks to the work, we've learned to do over the years, where we are mixing modalities. So there's, as you said so rightly, you're not ever doing one particular method. You're just creating a cocktail, if I may say so, which is client specific, right? Now, this girl, just so blessed to see those two journeys she went through, two sessions where she was primarily addressing that young part of herself who has had her neck held by a soldier and a gun at her temple. And these are physical experiences of the trauma that she was holding in her body. Now, just to give you a physical appearance, she's got fringes pretty much till here. You barely see her eyes, and her hair is right till here. So there's so much of everything hidden, if I may say so. And such a pretty girl. And it's all hidden. So when we did the first session we did was just to connect with that young girl. She was, I think, 6 when she went through this experience. And obviously, a lot of tears happened in the session. There was this place where she has the adult speaks to the 6-year-old. The 6-year-old connects the adult with what has happened. This is in relation to this progression, regression aspect of timeline. Now, this is she speaking to an aspect of herself who doesn't know who she is, because for the 6-year-old, this 28-year-old is somewhere in the future. But then that's how the intermingling happens, and the 6-year-old suddenly is all charged up. Oh, now I have this adult with me. My adult self is there holding me by the shoulder and saying, I got you. And that beautiful space where this whole thing of I see you, I acknowledge you, and I'm here with you, does such a beautiful shift for this little one. What was amazing is I've literally till now seen her 3 times. The second time she comes for her session, by the way, the fringe is now a bit on the side. Now I can see her eyes clearly, and I'm looking at the girl and I'm like, whoa, there's such a pretty girl. It's her face is visible. She's looking you in the eye, the eyes are, and I asked her very honestly that, has anyone ever told you there's any change in your appearance lately? She says, yeah. I was like, okay, and what are people telling you? And she says, they tell me I smile more and I look brighter. I said, nice. In the second session, she then tells me about the whole trauma of even seeing the neighbor child. They were all hiding behind the car. She and her brother moved to another car hide behind another car. The little other boy didn't move and he died because of the bomb. Now she's lived through these traumas, but the ability for her present self to connect to that 6-year-old and to neutralize the memory of what she was holding, because the memory is still there. It was the emotion that she was dealing with, which was literally frozen in time space quantum. But I wish I could read something out to you if I may. I hope I have it. And I know that as someone who's taught me so much, and I speak you and all my teachers who've at points brought in the understanding of the healing and the journey of a soul through inner child healing, these words stayed in my heart. And I'm just going to, may I read it out to you?
Is it going to identify her in any way?
No. It's just her emotion that I want to share.
Okay.
She says, I had a profound dream tonight that I had to share with you. I was walking down a road in my hometown that I know very well, that's usually filled with checkpoints and soldiers, and I used to have bad dreams about. This time, it was different. I walked free with joy. There were no soldiers, no checkpoints, no fear. The road was completely open and calm. My hair was flying. Even the air felt different. I was walking freely with a deep sense of peace in my body. I remember saying to myself in the dream, finally, I can walk this road in my dream without fear. And I woke up with a sense of peace.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's why we do the work, isn't it?
I just said, I have to share this with you, Trisha, because and this is the student in me saying this to you. So grateful because being able to share these learnings with such souls and then seeing the way they are flowering. That today, why she's come back the third time is now she's willing to let go of some of the addictions she's developed over the years. Because now she's realized, I don't have the fear, I don't need the addiction. And she's choosing this. That is the beauty of a soul's journey. The progression, regression that you talked about is true. If time is what I make of it, right? So if I can go to my 18-year-old self, I can also connect with my 80-year-old self.
Well, yes, I think so. Why not?
Yeah. And the 80-year-old self will tell me, if you want to reach me here in this beautiful space, this is the journey that you're going to go through. So the inner child, if I just say the subpersonality, the integration at every level, at every post in the journey, every station in the journey, just enables you to live your highest potential. This then brings me to another question, if I may ask, is when we see the evolution of a person, when we talk about evolution, there are so many everyday tools, daily tools that can enable us and has enabled us to enjoy our daily life. We all have our ups and downs. We all go through our struggles. Just when we think, oh, we kind of done and dusted here, something else pops up and you feel a bit challenged. Now, I may see it as a challenge, or I may see it as a deadlock or an obstacle and then get stuck. From your vast experience, from the space of wisdom that you're in, is there any maybe daily tool that you can suggest for people to be mindful of, to practice, to apply, which gives them joy in their daily experience? Because I guess ups and downs will be there. Challenges come as they do.
I think the people who come to us, we don't get the happy, functioning, living life people in our offices. We get the people that the life is not working. And so, yeah. And so I think that somebody who's chronically depressed or chronically angry or consistently tearing themselves down or being arrogant and judgmental, I think they get locked into these behaviors. And so for me to say someone who's clinically depressed will do this and then you'll be happy. If I would give a suggestion to people who are at least functioning, who are at least not totally trapped and mired into the depression, the anger, whatever, the addictions, I would say stop. Take a pen and put an X on your calendar at least one morning a week and a whole day if you can get away with it. Because I find that most of us who are in this work, who in their right mind would be a therapist? Who, with any sanity, would be a therapist? Who wants to sit there and go through hours of angst and pain and horror? And so what are we doing here? I think that most of us are motivated to get in this work because we're miserable. I remember at university, I didn't know what to major in. And so my roommate said one day, I had to declare a major, and she said, Trisha, everybody comes to you to talk to you and everybody wants you to help them with their problems. Why don't you go into therapy? And I went, okay, well, I don't know what else to do. All right, let's check. I'll be a therapist. What I think is that we tend to get compulsive. We tend to get into the rescue mode. We tend to, I know when I went to university, I was going to save the world. I graduated and the world said, so anyway, so the point is that I think those of us who are trapped in the triangle of healing, of being the rescuer, I think we need to stop and we need to cut out, I don't care if you start with 10 minutes, cut out time to do nothing but be with yourself. And if you can get it up, and that has to be sacred. When you put those 10 minutes down, okay, 10 minutes before my client comes, I'm just going to sit here and look at the ceiling. Oh, I got a phone call. Okay, wait a minute. I'll get this phone call before the client comes. And so we don't take care of ourselves. And I can say this about my clients too. People get so self-absorbed in their pain, their angst, their problems, their needs to rescue, to be rescued. And I think we don't take time to stop. So I would say stop, make sacred time for yourself, and get yourself out in nature. Look at a tree, smell a flower, touch the earth, pick up a pebble, listen to the birds. There's so much beauty and wonder on this planet, and it just passes most of us by. We're in our little boxes doing our little things, and there's a whole wonder that this planet gives us. So use it.
So true. So true.
Yeah, so I'm not going to say meditate for an hour every day. I'm not going to get into things like that. I'm just saying take that time and then do nothing.
Doing nothing. Just being and
just
not
be
doing
present.
anything. Very true.
Yep.
Very true.
Be present. Like I said, with the birds, the smells, the feels, be present in the moment.
It's pure therapy at that moment. I so agree with you.
Yeah. Sorry it took me so long to get there, but
no, I'm with you. I'm with you. Because a lot of times, I've had even clients tell me this. Okay, so then what do you want me to do? So what do you want me to do? And I'm like, no, And actually, your homework is doing nothing. Go sit in your garden, put your feet on the ground, feel the grass, and just be.
Yeah.
Just be for those 10, 15 minutes, because then your senses will open up. You'll be able to smell, you'll be able to see, you'll even hear the birds chirping, the leaves rustling in the wind. But to be able to absorb these messages from nature, there has to be quietness inside. So
Yeah,
instead of doing, just being is so important.
Yeah, even just to absorb,
Yeah.
let's say you're in your office and you do have a client coming. And so become absorbed with the pen, the shape, the feel, the colors, the movement. If you can get out in nature, I'm with you 100%. But if you can't, it's about focusing on what's here and now, not what I have to do and all my to-do list and what am I going to do with this client? They're still resisting any movement. And I think the only thing I would add to what you're saying is make it sacred, that time.
Yes.
It has to be sacred.
Yes.
And that's a boundary issue. And that's really hard on we caretakers to put a boundary.
So, it's interesting you use this word, because my very next question is kind of linked to it. The term that I'm bringing here, something that we have a lot of times our clients bring up, we hear it, and in society it's being discussed a lot, is family dynamics.
Oh, of course.
And family dynamics have socio-cultural, layers to it. The part of the world that you belong to, your upbringing, your conditioning, everything has these are these different ingredients you put in what today I would broadly put as family dynamics. When we look at family dynamics, or we ask ourselves, okay, so what is family dynamic? And I'm not talking here only from a realm of therapy, but how much, and I know it's a it's a question which I'm answering in my head because I'm remembering things that we've picked up, but this is for our viewers. In shaping an individual's personality, how much are we bringing in the element, on how strong or vital, integral would family dynamics be? Family dynamics does have a role to play in making you who you are, but to what degree? And this, I ask you why, because, parents, the people who come as parents and they talk about this, about their children, I'm asking from that perspective.
There's two things. In a way, I feel you've asked two questions. The first question is what part does family dynamics play? A lot. Are you the firstborn? What's your birth order?
Yes.
What's your gender? What is we're all born with certain natural inclinations. We have different genetic imprints. We have different, if you will, other lifetimes, other dimensions that we bring in. All of these things have to be factored in. Does the wife hate her husband and her son looks like her husband, so she abuses her son? Or the son looks like the husband, and the husband she doesn't like, she doesn't want to do with him, so she turns her son into the surrogate lover. So all of these things play a part. I had one client who adored her father, worshiped her father. He worshiped her. They had this close relationship. The mother was excluded, which is another dynamic. And then one day when she was 5 years old, she was sitting on his lap and she was cuddling up to him. He suddenly grabbed her, shoved her off his lap, and said, don't do that. And you're not going to sit on my lap anymore. So abandonment, rejection, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we regress back to before, where she felt so much love and so much being loved. And it turns out that he had an erection when she was wiggling around in his lap. And he was so ashamed of himself, and he wasn't a pedophile, thank God. And so he totally rejected her. And it was from this, where the mother was excluded, They both excluded her, another dynamic. And then at 5, he gets an erection. He can't control it. And he totally rejects her from then on. And so we can't estimate, okay, well, as a parent, then this makes something. What we need to do with our parents who ask us, what do I do with this child? Educate them, give them books, verbally do it. I had handouts and file folders in my office. We did that in those days. Anger management, sexual abuse, and I would just have handouts that I would give them. And then I would talk about it, and I would try to get, by open questions, their participation in why the child was acting out, or why the child was depressed or obese, because they're the one that cares, but they got to look at their 50%. What's going on here? So I never blame, never ever blame, never assign guilt. Just ask open questions. For example, if you could have done that differently, how might you have done it? Make them think. Make them think outside of the box. And I used to have group therapy I did years ago, and I had groups of mothers with problem children, and it helped them to be able to talk to other mothers and find out what methods didn't work, or when their child threw a tantrum, what did they do that worked? And so that community of caring, loving mothers, I think I had like 6, 7. I kept my group small. They really helped each other out on how to deal with their children. And of course, eventually their husbands, but that's another story. So educate a group, if you want to put together a group of women who are dealing with difficult children, and open questions to help them look at it a different way. And also, yes, when I slapped my child, my anger was out of control. Okay, are you willing to work on your anger? Because it comes back to the parents in so many ways. And I've had parents ask me, my 10-year-old daughter dresses like a whore and wants to put makeup on. What do I do? I said, get her off the phone. Get her off the computer. Turn off the television. They're like little sponges. They absorb and it gets worse and worse and worse. So these are some of the things that I would advise for parents.
And that's linked to that element of boundaries, because this is a word which is being used a lot these days. We have the children use it, we have the parents use it, but I think the definition of boundary and how it's being perceived or how it's being projected in our lives, from your perspective, what would your take be? How would you elaborate on the word boundaries? Because if we're looking at family dynamics, healthy boundaries do have a role to play in a healthy family dynamic. Unhealthy boundaries.
I think a lot of people are talking about boundaries. Nobody has any idea what it means.
Exactly what
I'm going to put in a boundary on my child. You cannot watch television for 2 nights. You have to stay in your room and come home from school. These are not boundaries, okay? This is an attempt to control. It works with some children. It doesn't work with others. And so a boundary basically is this. Where do I end and where do you begin?
Yes.
That's a boundary.
Beautiful.
And so with children, we have to put in boundaries. We have to use positive discipline. Even using that word is kind of a misnomer, but we have to, because children don't have boundaries. The neocortex is not developed until they're 27. The reasoning logical brain can't figure these things out. And so we as parents have to, but we have to learn how to put in positive boundaries. We need to learn the difference between control and boundaries. Too many people think boundaries are control.
Very true.
I'm going to
Very
control my husband's behavior by withholding sex, for example. That's not a boundary, but they think it is. And so I think that's really a tragedy because it's just core to living a positive life is boundaries. But I think very few people know what a boundary is